As we begin tonight, we go back a little bit, a few nights into our um, little timeline here to find Claudia. Claudia, you were on the trail of a lamia named Morag. You followed it. You were on her trail because of her association with the drug Medusa and the fact that you and a few others had been captured by agents of Aegis when you discovered that Aegis were the ones making this drug. And you've been pursuing Morag since then. You followed her trail to an abandoned funhouse, an abandoned horror house, in fact, on Ile Sainte-Hélène, where you discovered something strange, that there had been a fight there. And while there were no bodies, there was a knife that was caught in what appeared to be a weird temporal loop. That creepy La Sombra Armada found you then and told you she was also on the trail of Morag, but the knife was disturbing. As far as she knows, there's only one clan that can mess with time, a long disappeared clan called the True Brujah. She told you to usually only show up when a city or an empire is about to fall. Then she left you alone, and you saw the sun was coming up. You were trapped. What followed was a hellish day. Because of the way the horror house was built, the sun came in and covered most of the main floor, leaving only a narrow sliver of shadow. As the sun crossed the sky during the day, that sliver moved, like on a sundial. It was barely wide enough for you. You had to force yourself to stay awake all day, moving with the shadow, inch by inch, staying out of the sunlight, until finally, late in the afternoon, the sun dipped low enough that the place fell into darkness, and you could get a couple hours of day sleep. It's been a few nights since then. How have you been feeling about what happened and what's been going through your mind?
It's been a long time since Claudia knew and almost felt the dangers of the sun. I think when she was first turned, she had a moment of kind of laughing it off that something that she cherished so much would be her doom. And she was cocky. But this time she knew, and it was just a mantra repeating of the people that she knew and she cared for in this undying life that kept her at least sane enough to continue. And when she made it back home, was in the comfort of her sire husband, she allowed herself a moment to at least rest. Because it was that urge, that need to seek out truth that caught her in that moment. So instead of rushing, she took her time to rest and probably gather some notes, maybe doing some audio logs, comparing pieces, seeing what her coterie has been doing in the meantime, and see if maybe they have any other word of what's going on in the city. But for the most part, she rests.
I think that what you would have discovered mostly from your coterie is that there seems to be a lot of weirdness going on. People are feeling like something's about to happen. Everyone's kind of on edge. The drug has almost disappeared completely off the streets, and Aegis is also kind of faded in the background, and no one knows exactly what's coming, and they're afraid that there's something else big coming, although they kind of took a big political hit when they crashed that metro down through the tunnel and killed the prince, the Nosferatu prince. The other topic of conversation that you had broached with Armada was on the subject of the True Brujah, and I'm sorry, were you about to ask or say something? I think I could.
No, it was just it was a sigh of, I don't like the quiet.
Yeah, no one likes the quiet. The quiet's bad. Finding information about the True Brujah has been impossible, even with your various contacts. It's not that people don't want to talk, is that people don't have information in a way that it's almost suspicious. Like, there's so much a lack of information that it seems intentional. You received last night a message. La Sombra named Nicholas, whom you remember that night that you and the others were rescued from Aegis on the Seven Sisters Island, where you had been kept in your pursuit of this drug. Gave you a call. He lives amongst the Anarchs on the South Shore, somewhere in St. Bruno, which is maybe like a 15-minute drive outside of Montreal to the south. He said in his message that he heard that you had been asking about the True Brujah, and that's the first time you get any whiff whatsoever of the True Brujah. He said he knew a few things. He said he would be very glad to trade information with you, as he himself also is interested in this and has been looking into them for his own reasons. And so here you are now, pulling up to the house address he gave you, a 2-floor French colonial-style heritage building nestled on the edges of the forest near Mont Saint Bruno. The foliage at this time of year must be stupendous in the sunlight, but unfortunately, it's dark, and even though the darkness prevents you from seeing this wonderful, beautiful foliage, fall foliage of the forest here in Mont Saint Bruno, your recent experience makes you happy that the sun is kind of gone away. You stand in front of this door. There are a few lights on in the house. There's this strange feeling of shadows moving around the place, but you can't really put your finger on it. What would you like to do?
Fucking the Sombras. She'll knock.
Inside the house, Nicholas, this is your new little domain. You arrived here a few months ago from New York, where you had been living, lured here by your dreams, and found yourself embroiled in an adventure with some of the local kindred, and discovered perhaps that there were a few mysteries worth investigating out here, and so you have settled yourself here, at least temporarily, in this house. But go ahead and tell us a little bit, sort of what you've been up to since your recent adventures in town, and what would your house look like if there's anything special about it.
Certainly. So Nicholas has, as you said, only been here a short time, but in that short time, he's been spending most of it trying to reconnect with Montreal, the place of his birth. He has acquired this home, of course, and it has this feel of like old world money and such, even though it isn't overly ostentatious or anything like that. It perhaps for some might feel a little bit homey, as it were. Inside, there's a great deal of boxes and things being unpacked. There's a fairly noticeable state of almost turmoil to it, that there's just too much work to be done and not enough people to do it and such. There appears to be a handful of cats that have taken up residence in the house, whether or not they were there before Nicholas's arrival or have made their way post the arrival. They seem to be making a home for themselves in the shadows of the place, and Nicholas doesn't seem to mind over much. Not one particularly for housekeeping or anything of the sort. There is definitely a certain amount of dust and such, but the main living space, which is just off of the entrance with blackout curtains and the like, seems to be the most well used of the rooms of the house, and there's a fireplace and a fire already at the ready, with small table, fairly comfortable seating, and some tea already set out. And so as Claudia knocks on the door, the shadows themselves seem to open the door, and Nicholas just kind of pokes his head out from the doorway of that sitting room, which is visible to the door, and he just says, "Oh, good. I'm glad it's you and not just my imagination again. Please, come in, Claudia."
Thank you for having me over in such short notice. She'll step in.
Thank you for being willing to come and answer my call, so to speak. It's not every day that discussions like this can happen. How are you feeling as he moves into the room and beckons her through?
If you were to ask me a couple of days ago, I would have said more or less fine, but I have recent reminding traumas of how terrifying the sun can be, so we're getting by.
Well, you won't have to worry about any of that tonight. I'm sure we'll dig up all new traumas in our discussion.
How have you been?
Feeling much better since you last saw me. That cure was quite painful, in fact. Miracle that I got through it, I think. If I'm being honest. I'm not the most resilient of our kind, freely willing to admit.
Well,
I am persistent.
Persistence is good. And you say that you're not as resilient, but you surviving that, I think, proves that you are. So I'm happy for that, for you.
Thank you. Tea? I didn't know what you might like. I tend to go for Earl Grey around here. Seems to fit.
Earl Grey's fine. Thank you.
Of course. And as he hands you the cup, you can see that the cup itself is quite old, significant. There's no obvious marks of who might have made it or anything of the sort. And just holding it, you can see the slight imperfections of something that was handmade probably more than a century or so ago. So, you have been discussing some things in somewhat closed circles, but it has still reached my ear that you are interested in True Brujah.
Closed circles are not as closed as I thought, but yes, I am.
To be fair, there are few circles that are closed to me. So don't hold that against yourself or any of the circles themselves. I just like to be in the know of certain things.
I hold no ill will for that, especially for a topic such as this. Broadening the net seems to be a better course of action.
I would be careful that you broaden it too far. You want to speak to knowledgeable individuals, yes, but I am uncertain as of yet anyway if these sorts of discussions should be happening more openly.
Remains to be seen. What do you know?
I know a fair bit about a variety of subjects. I'm more curious, if we could get it out of the way, why you want to know. What has given you cause to research this particular trauma to our kind?
There are branching reasons. The center of it, weirdly enough, is because of the Medusa drug. Well, a little bit of that. But branching off of that, there was a kindred that has associations with the drug. I was trying to find her, and from branching off of that, it seems that she made an enemy of the True Brujah, and now her trail's gone cold.
Who might this individual be that you are seeking?
Does the name Morag ring any bells for you? I see.
Yes.
It's a trauma for you.
To say the least. If I could rid myself of it, I would. I'll be honest. That trauma is one that will send some of our kind to step into the sun.
Which is why I'm trying to look into this. The only thing I really know about these True Brujah is that they are semblances or harbingers of doomsday. And if they have picked a fight with her, and she's associated with that fucking drug, and then whatever else that she's associated with, I'm fearing. Let's just say if I wanted drama, I would have stayed back in the States.
There's more than enough drama in the States these days.
I don't want to see that happen here.
If the True Brujah are at all involved in this, could mean Gehenna coming to these shores. That would be very, very bad for all involved.
And on those prophetic words, we travel across the city. Fiona, you recently had some troubles in the underworld. You were asked by Elise to help guide her and Fletcher and Father Dubois in the underworld as they were searching for Desmond. And it appears that Desmond had been taken by a couple of Giovannis, and you very willing to throw in and help them out, guided them into the underworld, and after a few misadventures ended up fighting for your lives, but rescuing Desmond and even uncovering that the Nosferatu prince, or former perhaps prince, Nosferatu prince of the underworld, Max, was in fact still alive, if somewhat completely frenzied out of his mind. Last you saw, the good father had departed with the body of the prince, surely to do terrible bad things. However, you yourself departed with a body. You had rescued Desmond, but had found on site the body of a young man, human, named Tristan, who was the owner of a bookstore where all of this had taken place originally, the attack and the abduction and all that. You had discovered through Elise that this young man had some connection to l'enfant terrible, the killer that you and Elise and Margot had met at Ruby Foo's hotel that night, and having some personal issues with him, going all the way back to when you and Margot had first discovered 23 and 3 bodies in a warehouse in Montreal, humans. Well, you thought perhaps it might be pertinent to ask him a few questions. So tell us a little bit how Fiona is doing, what Fiona has been doing, and exactly where is she keeping Tristan?
Fiona opens a door behind the bar. She's carrying a tray full of a simple meal, perhaps something with some chicken, some vegetables, something that cook was willing to whip up for us, and a glass of room temperature water. And she steps onto the stairs leading down. And she walks down the stairs. The ceiling is low. The basement smells musty. There's bottles lining shelves on the walls. It's the stock room where they keep all the overflow stock that comes in. She passes by and she opens a refrigerator door and steps inside. And there Tristan is tied to one of the kegs on the floor. Well, figured I'd get you a home-cooked meal. He's wrapped in, not the best quality jacket, just enough so he doesn't freeze to death or lose any fingers, but certainly he's not able to get out from the inside.
How long are you planning to keep me down here? I'm freezing.
As long as it takes to get the answers that I'm looking for, love. Now, I know that you seem to be some sort of mild-mannered shopkeep, one who's quite fond of literature, which I'd just as soon destroy a book myself as destroy a mind like yours. But I believe we've got a bit of a bone to pick.
I don't even know you. I don't even know who you are. Why would I have any bone to pick with you? I don't even know why I'm here.
Right. I'm a friend of your buddy, partner, lover, Desmond.
Desmond is a friend and a client. I don't even know where he is. What happened to him? We were attacked. What happened to Desmond? Is he all right? Is he okay?
Fiona holds up a hand to stop him. He's fine. He's off sorting some business. You see, there's a lot of fuckery happening lately here in our fair city of spires. So I think he's going and cleaning house a little. And, well, you and I are going to have a little chat. And Fiona pulls over one of the kegs and, lays she had brought a cushion down and puts it on top and sits on top of the keg. So, what do you know about 23 and 3 bodies wrapped in plastic in a warehouse?
Nothing. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything at all about any bodies in a warehouse.
Fiona reaches into her boot, pulls out a knife, and just casually flicks it open. I'm going to let you try that again. You're going to tell me what you know about 23 and 3 bodies. Or else, I'm going to take an ear off.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about that or any other bodies. I don't know what else to tell you. Can we get Desmond? Can we bring him here? He'll tell you that I'm a friend of his. I don't know anything about any bodies.
Well, I happen to know that you know a little something about someone named l'enfant terrible. What does his face do when I say that?
His eyes grow wide, and he can't hide the surprise that you bringing that up. You can see fear also. I think he's definitely kind of taken aback by that, but kind of an open book about it. He's definitely been caught short.
Well. Now it sounds like we're getting somewhere now. What do you know about 23 and 3?
Nothing at all. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, then let's try something else, will we? What do you know about the activities of one l'enfant terrible?
Does Desmond know I'm here?
Desmond knows that you're in good hands.
Can't believe that. Desmond wouldn't leave me here if he knew what you were doing to me.
What I'm doing to you? Well, I'm keeping you chilled like a martini glass. You'll be fine. Plus, I brought you dinner.
Listen, I don't know who you are, how I ended up here, what you want with me besides these questions that I have no answer to. Now, if you want me to tell you about what I know about l'enfant terrible, I'm going to need some guarantees that you're not gonna just kill me once I tell you.
I can promise that I will not kill you once you've told me what you know. However, the longer you take to tell me what you know, the less in one piece you're going to be. Do you understand?
I also want you to call Desmond and bring him here now. If he's here, I will tell you anything you want to know.
No, Tristan. You're not in any position to be negotiating now. So why don't we start with what you know about l'enfant terrible, and if I like what I hear, I'll call our buddy Des. How's that sound?
What's your interest in l'enfant terrible? What's your interest in any of this?
Do you know who I am?
At the risk of offending you, no, I don't.
I am Our Lady of the Underground. I am the keeper of lost souls. I am the one who makes sure that when the police come knocking, they're the ones that get the boot on their neck. I can be an incredibly powerful ally to you. But more importantly, I want to know about your activities, because I take great interest in the population here in Montreal. Great interest, especially in those what have a difficult time with, say, landlords, sexual harassment in the workplace, riots, unionizing, making sure that the underdogs do not get stomped out by those higher-ups.
Yeah, I've heard of you. And I know what you do. I can tell you that whatever I have to tell you is not really going to be of much interest to you. My connection to all this goes back several years, and I've not been involved in anything at all in recent years.
Well, then why don't you tell me what you have been involved with and what you know? And maybe, just maybe, I'll let you eat this dinner, which is getting quite cold now, upstairs. And we'll call our buddy Des. You tell me everything you need to know, and you get to keep all your toes.
And speaking of Desmond, our good buddy Desmond, somewhere strange, you waited, Desmond. You waited for what seemed like an eternity or 3. Then you began to walk. The Shadowlands stretch out around you. Desolate hush, like the echo of a forgotten world. It's a place caught between light and darkness, where the sun, or something like it, glows faintly behind a veil of ash gray clouds, always present and never warm, never close. The light hangs like a memory, unreachable, casting long shadows that shift and stretch as if they are alive. I'm experiencing technical difficulties. Everything here feels frayed at the edges. Buildings loom in a state of decay, half consumed by the fog. Their outlines blurred, their windows like eyes. The ground beneath your feet crumbles in places or sinks unexpectedly into marshy hollows, as if the world itself is tired of holding shape. There's movement in the distance, figures that drift at the corner of vision. They resemble people at first, hunched silhouettes walking slowly, searching for something they've long forgotten. As you draw closer, those figures dissolve into lifeless things. Trees, broken posts, shattered statues covered in gray ash and dust. The land plays tricks on you, your eyes unsure of what they've seen, your mind reaching for patterns where none exist. A heavy stillness hangs in the air. There's no wind. Sometimes the silence is pierced by a sound, a sob, a whisper, a scrape, that disappears as soon as you try to follow it. The atmosphere is thick with sorrow, as though the land itself is mourning, not loudly, but with a constant, weary grief that seeps into bone and thought alike. This, you realize, is a place made of the dead, of their souls, a vast, mournful prison built of tears, memories, and laments. Paths wind and vanish, landmarks shift or fade. The Shadowlands do not welcome the idea of direction. Everything looks familiar and unfamiliar at once. You turn, thinking you found your way, only to discover that the terrain has changed, or maybe you have. It's interminable, this place. Time does not pass here so much as loop, stretch, dissolve. You were lost before you even took a step. Yet, you continue to put one foot in front of the other. What's going on inside of you, Desmond?
When Desmond started walking, it was the type of walking where you have no direction, but you just need to move. That staying still, waiting to see if Dario would follow through on his end of the deal, got to be too much, and walking felt like taking an action. But as Desmond has continued walking, stumbling, running at different points, the futility of it has started to get to them. And what feels the worst is the dawning recognition that maybe, just maybe, this is where he belongs to be.
After some time, in the distance, through the endless pall of fog and half-light, a city looms. A broken crown of spires and archways rising from the bones of the Shadowlands. Enoch. The name surfaces unbidden, like a memory that's not your own. It stands silent, yet its presence speaks louder than the thunder pressing against the mind, like a weight, like a whisper that knows your name. At first you think it's a mirage, a trick of grief and shadow. The jagged skyline seems to shift when you look away, buildings appearing and vanishing in the mist. No lights burn in its towers, no voices call from the streets. The city feels aware, as if it's been waiting for far too long and now stirs from its slumber, sensing your gaze upon it. Black stone towers, twisted and worn, rise like grasping fingers. Roads snake into its heart, narrow and choked with ruin. And the silence surrounding it is different, deeper, more intentional, as though even the Shadowlands themselves fear to make their presence known at the heart of the city. There's a rhythm beneath that silence, though, a pulse slow and heavy, like the heartbeat of something ancient. The air feels strange here, foul with the taste of dust and old blood, and the shadows deepen unnaturally as you near the city's borders. It's not so much an absence of light here as it is a resistance to it. And then, Enoch, a familiar but long forgotten voice says next to you. It's not just ruins. It is prophecy etched in stone and shadow. A threat written in the bones of the world. Hello, Aiden. It's been quite some time.
Aiden can't bring himself to look in the direction of that voice, but they nod to themselves. It has been a very, very long time.
The man stepping up next to you, Ronaldo Toisechel, takes a look at the city, pulls the hood of his cloak down. Lost?
I've been lost a long time, but yes.
Well, I've been sent to help you find your way. A necromancer named Dario summoned me. He bade me come guide you through this place so that he can reach you. You know him well.
I know him well enough. I wish he were not involved in the circumstances of us seeing one another again. But it is good to have you here.
I don't think
Did
we
he
want...
hurt you?
Sorry, say that again, please.
Did he hurt you?
No, he was very polite. Which was strange for their kind. They're not usually... Well, they don't usually care too much. It was my first time being summoned, though. Felt a little strange to feel that pull after so long. But here we are. I don't think we want to go to Enoch, so perhaps we continue on our way.
I will trust your guidance and judgment on that.
Very well, it's this way. I don't know where we're going, but I see a line, a beacon of sorts. It should take us there safely. How did you find your way here? I would have thought that you would have come here a long time ago.
I did. I even came close to crossing over. But, well, our mutual acquaintance who you met is the reason I didn't. And he is at least part of the reason that I'm here now.
I sense a tale of betrayal.
You have no idea.
How was it?
My tale is filled with it.
Yes. Yes, I can imagine so. And how did it feel to be one of them? One of the kindred, as they call themselves, that you hated so much that you devoted most of your life to destroying them.
Aiden is quiet for a long moment, And this time, he does not give the response that he gave to Dario, which was that they found it disgusting. He takes a moment. I cannot say that I enjoyed it, but I certainly developed a deeper understanding for what you experienced. I saw aspects of the kindred that I could not see when you were made into one.
We have a lot of difficulty sometimes seeing things from the point of view of the others. We focus on what makes us different and not on what makes us similar. I had a similar reaction when I was first embraced. I regretted changing, of course. I know that you and Calome did not see that. I know that you thought that I wanted that I wanted to be one of them, but I didn't choose. My sire was named Ines. She had an all-consuming obsession, and I had the key to it. I died before I could tell her, and she turned me to get the information. At first I was delighted, even though you and Calome turned on me. I'd been touched by the abyss, and that vast emptiness was very welcoming. It promised peace and revelations, but I didn't get to study it long. I died after only a few more years. Did you ever learn how I did die?
My memories are still confusing at points and not entirely clear.
It was after you had left, gone back to Europe, but before you created Gladius Day and began your crusade against the kindred. I was destroyed by one I thought was a friend. Her name was Marie. She'd been with us when Ines turned to me. She was the protector of Ville-Marie, but something happened to her the night I was turned. A madness took her, began changing her. We found ourselves more and more at odds at time. After she embraced and turned a grey nun, we could no longer be called friends. Calome knew about my enmity with General Montcalm, the werewolf. She brought us into conflict. I got the upper hand, but I couldn't bring myself to kill him, and when he was dying, I did the unthinkable. I turned him, created an abomination. We eventually managed to render him inert and buried him beneath Montreal. A pack of werewolves found him last year, woke him up and killed him, I think. But after what I did, Marie turned on me. She put me to final death. But by that point, my ritual was nearly complete, and I was an indelible part of this city. When I died, my soul was fractured into 3, a number that has always haunted me, as you know. And so I remain in the city. Again, something I did not choose. Trapped inside a body that is wide, an island filled with people of all stripe. Sorry, my English is abandoning me. It's strange, the things that happen to us. But people like you and I, Aiden, we found our way into momentous events simply because of who we are and the things we seek. I never did find out. How did you come to Montreal? You came from Ireland, yes?
I did,
What
yes.
brought you to us?
Looking back, it almost feels like I I was pulled inexorably towards the city, but if you were to ask me, it was to bring religion to Montreal.
You had family, right? You had a brother who came with you and went somewhere else?
I did. I would not say we were close. We were on very different paths. I was driven by spirituality. He was driven by a desire for power and violence.
Well, the two are not always mutually exclusive. Spirituality and desire for power and violence.
Certainly, looking at where my trajectory went, I cannot say you're wrong.
One of the interesting things about being a city now, I guess, which is what I am, is that I feel deeply and I know deeply all the inhabitants, everyone in it, all their secrets, everything about where they came from and who they are. I feel their pain like it is my own, their joys like they are my own. It's quite an experience for a sensualist like me. Did you know that there is one in Montreal who is blood relative of yours?
No. No, I did not.
Well, let me tell you about her. Meanwhile, back in St. Bruno, in a small colonial house with Earl Grey tea, a steeping in mugs, and the knowledge that Gehenna perhaps is on the shores, or coming to the shores of Montreal, we return to a little discussion happening between Nicholas and Claudia.
What do you know of Gehenna, Claudia?
I know that it is supposedly like our end times. The old ones tend to be a bit more fanatical about it than the younger ones, but not too much to really, not much of a scholar of it.
So you don't know that it's already happening then?
I've been feeling that there's been a shift. Maybe that was my instinct saying that it is happening. And I just couldn't put it to words.
Unfortunately, it's not something easily proven. But I do believe that the wars in the Middle East and Africa are linked to the antediluvians' return. That at least some number of them have risen from torpor. And whatever Sabbat might have tried to prevent this, or whatever delusional thinking that they have regarding it all, they have been decimated. Or in the act of it at the very least. The handful of kindred that have returned have been very, very broken.
Not
And
surprising.
if the True Brujah are in proximity to Montreal, it could be a precursor to Gehenna coming here.
Which is why I think it's very important to track down this lead. Call me an optimist, but Gehenna hasn't fully taken. There may be something that can curb it. Something.
I thought that I was the only optimist allowed in Montreal.
Like I said, I'm from the States. You kind of have to be an optimist during these times.
That's fair. What do you know about the Talmeira?
Will she know anything? Doesn't really ring any bells.
Not surprised. They're kind of a death cult. Rather ancient, in fact. One generation removed from the antediluvians, it's believed. They sometimes are referred to as the hand without sun. If you've ever walked in certain Sabbat circles and dug deep enough, you might know that they were, in fact, related to the Black Hand. They created the Black Hand, as it were. And some of us, though we are in the minority, think that they did that to control the Sabbat, or to weaken them, at the very least, should Gehenna return.
All this really started because we were looking for someone for the Baron. And the last time that contact was spotted was with the Sabbat, but I never imagined that. Actually, no. That's a lie. I should have expected that they'd also be involved in some way.
You know how to contact me now. So I'm going to ask a couple of favors, and I'm going to offer some things in return. I'm going to ask that you keep me informed of anything and everything that you find. Any individuals that you come into contact with that have potential, even remote information, I would like to know of them. In particular, if you have found anyone that has actually encountered first person a True Brujah, please let me know. Think you can do that for me?
I know why I'm doing this. What about you? I'm happy to do this, but I'm a bit curious as to why you want to be involved in this as well.
Let's just say I've seen the end of the world, and I don't want it to happen while I'm still alive.
Fair enough. I can at least give you a little bit kind of pertaining to Morag. There's whispers. Well, not whispers. There's this new group of women. They're over at the Botanical Gardens. I've heard Morag's name at least once when looking into them, but it hasn't been stuck, and I haven't had time to look into them a bit deeply. But I feel like that may be a threat that I'll be looking into later.
If you need some assistance, some more direct kind of assistance, I have someone that you should reach out to.
Please.
Her name is Fiona. She has a pub. I'll send you the information on it. She might be the most, or at least strongest, if not most powerful, strongest Brujah in the city at the moment. You heard about the fall of the Brujah Primogen?
Have I heard, Blake? I believe probably.
I think it's news.
Yeah. I heard bits and pieces of it.
The humans brought about that demise.
Hmm.
Yes.
Sorry. Did you ask me a question?
Did I hear about the fall of the Brujah Primogen?
Yeah. So sorry about that. Sorry to interrupt, Nico. Yeah, when the Nosferatu prince was killed, when Aegis collapsed the metro tunnel, they collapsed it on top of his royal court, and a number of high-ranking kindred were there, the Brujah Primogen among them, and so they're all considered dead at this point. They've not been seen, and the entire place was pretty wrecked. So you would have heard of that.
Okay. Yeah. Same answer of bits and pieces. I didn't know if they were considered still missing in action, or if they're truly not with us any longer.
I have strong belief that they are not with us any longer.
Hmm.
And the circumstances of that are troubling, to say the least. Regardless of that, that puts Fiona in a position that they might be able to assist you in this.
Hmm.
When you get there, I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, Brujah are a bit chaotic sometimes. I have something that might help with that. And Nicholas will stand up and he'll go over to a large chest that is in the corner of the room. He'll take some of the boxes off of it and he'll open it up. And when it opens up, it almost sounds like a door to a chamber that had no air in it, you know, that whooshing noise. And he opens it up and you hear him muss with some keys and slide a glass panel away and quickly goes in and pulls out something wrapped up and closes it and then closes the chest. And he comes over to you and he has in his hand a leather wrapped, it's about book sized, not overly large, but you know, roughly the size of perhaps an old Bible. And he doesn't open it. The leather wrapping is green. There's a number of handcrafted Celtic knotwork pieces all across it, and it has a bit of a tie around it that you're not quite sure what kind of leather that is, but there's something special about it. And he kind of almost pets the book for a moment, and you can tell that there's some sentimental value there. And he looks at you and he says, "This was illuminated by Margaret Stokes during the Celtic revival of the late 1800s. She was an amazing woman who wanted to preserve Ireland's heritage in ink and color when the time period called for all remembrance to slip away. It's not the original Book of Kells, mind you, but it carries with it the same endurance. Survival through centuries against erasure. Fiona will probably appreciate this."
I will protect it and cherish it until it's in her hands.
Do. And let her know who gave it to you, and tell her that should she need my care or assistance, just has to reach through the shadows and find me.
That was my next question. If you wanted your name mentioned, I will do so.
Given the situation, I think I'm going to have to start using my name a little bit more. I don't think I can sit in the shadows much longer. So, if you give this gift to her and tell her who it's from, that should be sufficient payment for her to assist you, should she need it.
It'll be done. Thank you, Nicholas.
Come. Do be careful. What you tread upon now is not something someone should walk with ease through.
Seeking truth is never easy. But if we don't have people doing so, then there is no point in doing any of this.
Just be mindful that it is often difficult to discern the lies from the truth when they are commingled so much as this. The True Brujah have been lying to everyone for a very, very long time. They may not even know the truth of things anymore.
Well, what better than the judge to be doing this type of work? But I will be careful.
You. And he just kind of stands and gestures towards the door.
I'll be in contact, or I guess I'll give you a warning if I'm heading over. It seems you sometimes need company.
Oh, I seem to have actually acquired some company, as you see a couple of cats. I don't know why they've shown up all of a sudden, but apparently they're here. And I don't mind it so overly much. They've really done a remarkable job of dealing with the mice and rats that accumulated in this place while I was not here.
I wouldn't ask for better guardians of a home. Well, besides the shadows.
Oh, those are not the guardians of the home. They are the slaves. Let's be clear about that. Anyway.
The cats it is, then. Enjoy the rest of the evening, Nicholas. Try to.
I will endeavor. Be careful what you do.
And she'll head out.
That sounded like a threat, but I'm sure it wasn't. As you start heading out with the bits and pieces of information that you've acquired and some portents, perhaps, of dangerous times ahead, where is Claudia going to be going?
I think the night seems to be young. Let's head to Fiona's.
Nothing like an Irish pub to bring back a little bit of spring in your step. Speaking of Irish pubs, not every one of them is worth going to, and certainly not every one of them has a vampire interrogating a human in a refrigerator downstairs. This one does. Fiona, as you sit and lean and intimidate poor Tristan, he'll say, "It's been 4 years since I had anything to do with any of this. I'll tell you my story. I don't think it's going to help you much, but I'll tell you the story, if only to tell it. Desmond knows a little of this, but not everything in detail, not enough for you to hold it against him."
So far as I know, I've got no beef with Desmond. So, you tell me what you know, and you can keep your pinky toe.
You ever dream of something so vivid, so wrong that it doesn't leave you when you wake up?
It's been a long time since I've dreamt myself, but yes, I do recall one or two.
It's not just the feeling of the dream. It's the place, the angles, the air. They smell like ash and rust. I still see it, even now, even awake sometimes. Black pyramid, towering over a dead land. No sky, no sun, just this endless twilight. Something moving under the dirt. Something ancient watching me, smiling without a mouth. That dream always comes first, and then it ends when the woman in blue with the red hair appears and touches my face. See, a while back, I'd been asked by one of my more curious book collectors. I only know him as Ashmore. Never spoke to him directly. But he asked me to get him a book called The Malthian Legacy, a treatise on the never-born and the once-born, by one Calomé de Troyes, written in 1799. I got the book, and when it was in my possession, something happened to me. It was like a presence attached to the book would occasionally come into me. I'd find myself a passenger in my own body. It guided me. It made me do things. This thing inside of me had a name. It called itself L'Enfant Terrible, the Bad Child. Seven people it made me kill. I still have the red clothes I'd like to wear. Can't bring myself to get rid of them, even though I know I should. They're in a trunk. They smell like blood and smoke. I did 2 years ago. Sorry, 4 years ago. Strange thing is I feel like this passenger, like I was in its first vehicle. Like it had done this before. Like it would do it again. Continue on after me, and I still, to this day, get strange visions and dreams and like fragments of memories. It always started the same way. I would get a postcard. After the dream, always blank except for a name, an address. Like someone's invited me to a party I don't remember agreeing to, and that's when it would start to slip. It never happened all at once. It was slow, like my bones didn't belong to me. Like I was made of wax and someone else was shaping me with heat. And then I knew it was time. Time to put on the red. And to find the red clothes in my closet, I wouldn't remember putting them there, but they fit. They always fit, and every time there's new splotches of dried blood on them. And the knife, the serrated surgical saw. And by then I wasn't really there anymore, not fully. I was just watching through my own eyes. A passenger, screaming behind glass. And the worst part is I could feel it enjoying what it was doing with my hands. I remember every face, every target. That's what it calls them. Target, not person, not a name, not father of two or college student or elderly woman with a limp and kind of. It's just target. And then the acts themselves eventually blur together. But the aftermath, the blood, smell, silence, that sticks. I wake up with it under my fingernails sometimes. That presence inside me like a naughty child. Laughter so disturbing. And then someone came for the book. And it stopped. I don't know who Ashmore is. I never have. He always contacts me via an untraceable email account. Sends a messenger to deliver payment and pick up the books. Always pays in cash, sometimes several $1,000s. That's all I know about it.
I appreciate your honesty. I'll tell you what. I'm going to believe you on this. Now, you say this happened 4 years ago. That was the last time that you felt like you were some sort of puppet. Right? So then, do you have any idea why l'enfant terrible was at Ruby Foo's not too long ago?
All I know is that, like I said, I think I felt that I wasn't the first and that I wouldn't be the last. I think that whatever does this moves on, maybe with the book or whatever else, passes on to somebody else. Doing work for someone or something, maybe that lady in blue in the black pyramid. I don't know. But I don't think I was the last. I may not even have been the only one, for all I know. There were others. Some of the fragments of memories that I have are not things that I did, so.
Aside from these fragments of memories that you have, were there any indicators of who else might have been some sort of vessel? Other people like you who were used by what I would only describe as magic?
Is he bound, Fiona?
Oh yeah.
If you'll untie me, I'll give you something, the last little bit of information that I have. Maybe it'll help you.
She pauses and eyes him up and down. Like I said, I believe your story. If I untie you, and you do anything other than give me this information, if you so much as look at me wrong, I will drain you in this fridge. Do you understand?
I have no doubt.
Very good. Now, let's untie you. And she bends down with her switchblade and slices the rope.
I'll get up and stretch and rub his wrists where he was tied and take a breath and, looking at you, very slowly move and take some of the food from the plate, eat it, and then wipe his hands on the napkin, and he'll reach into his pocket and pull out his wallet. He'll open it and he'll pull out what looks like a business card, black and gold, and he'll extend it and hand it to you.
Is this what you wanted to show me?
The card itself Only has a few words on it. It says Ashmore. And below it is an email address. alchemicus@thewaytobliss.crucible. When you touch the card, you feel a slight trembling in it. You feel energy. Almost as if, you know, when you touch, have you ever, I don't know if you've ever in your life touched electrified fence. When you touch electrified fence, it basically makes you go like this. Or you feel like you're going like this, but you don't really go like this. It's just that feeling. And that's what this does momentarily. It gives you this feeling that your hand is shaken, but you realize that it's not, and it's kind of like a passing feeling.
Well, this looks like some fucking cult shit. Thank you. Now, what we're gonna do, you're gonna take this tray upstairs. You're gonna go in front of me. You're gonna go into the bar, and you're gonna have a seat, and I'm gonna bring you a proper meal.
One more thing. There's a feeling of inevitability to all of this. I feel like there are threads that are being pulled taut together, like you finding me giving you this card, and whatever comes after is all part of some plan that we can't really understand, but I honestly don't think that any of this is pure chance. And as he says that last bit, just before you can respond, there's a knock that comes at the fridge door.
What is it?
It's Bruno. There's someone here to see you. A lick. Her name is Claudia.
Would I know that name?
'Cause you're pretty well connected. Do you have your character sheet up?
I surely do.
Since you are someone who's pretty well connected and you have your ear to the ground, as the kids today like to say, give me a charisma and streetwise.
Can I ask a question?
Yarp.
Has my hunger been reset since last game?
It has, but you should make a Ross check before everything else, just to see how you're feeling tonight.
Right. Oh, please.
If you would, Claudia, go and make one also. I should have asked you to make one earlier.
That's a rousing success. Excellent. I'm sorry, what roll did you want me to make, love?
Charisma and streetwise.
Excellent. I'm fairly well versed in those things. Streetwise, charisma. Well, that's 2 successes.
What would be the Cliff's Note version that Fiona, being someone who has her ear to the ground and knows people in the underworld and so on and so forth, what might she have heard of Claudia, Ava?
I think she would have heard that Claudia is a BANU HAQIM, originally from the States, made in Quebec City before moving to Montreal several years ago with her husband, taken up with the Anarchs, but seems to not really... She's indifferent to that whole Camarilla Anarch drama and private investigator.
Right. I called through the door. Bruno, get her situated in the private quarters in the back. Get her whatever she'd like to drink. Also, Bru, I need you to keep an eye on young Tristan here. You get him whatever he wants to eat. I think he might be a vegetarian or some shit. But You get him whatever he wants to eat, but he's going to be staying here tonight because we were waiting for Desmond to come back. Once Desmond's back, Tristan becomes his problem.
Right, chair, boss.
Right. Shall we? Head up the stairs, would you?
This is an Irish pub, right?
Right.
You make bangers and mash.
We make the best fucking bangers and mash you'll ever fucking eat.
On that very bold statement, we traveled back to the Shadowlands, where the man whose name is on everyone's lips is traveling with an old friend. Your old friend Ronaldo says I don't know the particulars of how she came to be here or the details of anything from her life before she was in Montreal. I can only sense her now that she is here. But in one way or another, she is related to you by blood. Perhaps for your brother. She's not from here originally. She arrived only a few years ago.
That would make sense. My brother ended up in the States, so that could certainly be the link there. I had no idea.
Well, I'm glad to tell you. I always felt like we left each other on the wrong foot back in the day. I understand that you felt betrayed by what had happened to me, and then I felt betrayed by what you and Calome did to me. And, well, you know, those things fester. But in time, they lose some of their potency, and I've come to remember only the better times. But I'm telling you this because I have a favor to ask when you return. I also have a descendant in the city. But I will tell you what you want to know first, and then I will tell you about my favor. Her name is Fiona. I believe she goes under a different name now, but her family name is Joseph, just like you.
Well then, I suppose a reunion might be in order.
I hope it is good.
Before you ask me the favor that you have, I have two questions for you. One that is more personal, and one that I'm hoping might guide me as I'm moving forward. I'll ask that one first, and then I'll get to the personal one. Once upon a time, you thought that you could complete the ritual and create the Montreal that you envisioned that we were working towards. You believed that in that world, kindred and humans could live side by side in that utopia. What made you believe that?
When the king sent me to Montreal originally, he sent me, one, so that I could avoid being killed as I was about to be executed for being a sorcerer. And two, he sent me because he believed that the conflict that was coming in the New World with the English and with the Spaniards would be one that would be settled through powers beyond the usual military means. He wanted to make sure that we had a strong foothold in the occult world in Montreal. As soon as I arrived, I discovered the power that was in this place. It took me a long time to figure out why there was such power here, but there was something beneath the ground of the city that gave it a vibrancy and an energy and a power that was unparalleled anywhere else. I had arrived with nothing, fleeing, if you will, a death sentence. And what I found when I arrived here were people like me who had left to come here because the prospect of an untamed land with all its dangers, all its unknowns, was less daunting than the prospect of saying where they were, how terrible things had become for so many people in France and in Spain and in England and in Germany and everywhere else, that people felt the need to come to such a place where, let's face facts, for 6 months out of the year, the place is literally trying to kill you with cold. That hope is what lit the place up for me. It was what ignited this idea, the hope that everyone brought. The fact that once everyone got here, things were so dangerous that people did not have a choice but to work together to overlook differences of culture and skin color and language, belief even. I saw Protestants and Christians and Jews and every other color of spirituality you can name working side by side. And it inspired me. And I thought, everywhere else in this world is a terrible place. Let us have one place. Let us have one place that is a sanctuary. That is a place where any who are willing to live in respect of others can come and can live that hope that I saw in so many eyes and beat in so many hearts. Now, admittedly, at first I didn't know about Kindred, but even after I was turned and I discovered the truth about them, I thought, here are truly lost souls. They have lost literally everything. They have lost the light of the sun. And yet not all of them turn into monsters. Most do, but not all of them. And I thought, what if there was a place? What if there was a place where those who did not want to be monsters did not have to be monsters? What if there was a place that didn't force you to be a monster? A place that gave you other options? And that was it. I knew the place had power, would attract people. I knew that I could make it do something worthwhile, build something worthwhile. I didn't have the chance to do it. I was unfortunately killed before I could, but I came close, so close. So close. And I truly believe that the margin between success and defeat is narrow enough that it needs only a few people to believe in it. But those people have to be willing to make sacrifices and to work together and to push through. Because dreams like this do not happen on their own. Dreams like this are built with sweat and blood and tears. And it is too easy to become apathetic and to believe that it is not worth it, but it is. It is so worth it. I can only hope that perhaps someday someone else will pick up the flame where I left it and carry it across the line.
I think that day might be sooner than you think. And I missed hearing you talk. I cannot say I had forgotten how much you awakened that fire in me, but it is different having you here now than trying to sift through my fragmented memories of what we had shared together. Which brings me to that second question, the more personal one. You had talked about being able to see those who are in this city, that you are now integrally connected to it and to all of us. And I know from what you've shared with me that you have seen many aspects of me, and I know my betrayal hurt you. How could it not? But what I truly need to know right now is, are you disappointed in what I became?
Do you mean while you still lived, or what you are now?
Well, I still lived. When I let that desire for revenge cloud my judgment.
No. You did what you thought was right. You acted on the information that you had, and perhaps some of it was motivated by a level of prejudice, but the truth is that there are many among the kindred who are nothing but predators. But there are many dogs who are predators, and some that are wonderful companions. The important is to be able to sift through them and see which ones are kind and which ones are not, and the ones that are not kind should be treated accordingly. They have no place. Those who live off predation, those who place themselves above, no place for them in our wonderful world. But to paint them all with the same brush is where the mistake is. And to answer your question, Aiden, I would only be disappointed in you if you did not change based on what you know now.
That is the answer I needed to hear. Thank you for that.
Gladius, they are a problem. The order you created is in Montreal, and they are active, and they are about to become very active. You know them best, you know their ways. I will leave that on your doorstep, but they are about to become a serious problem.
Given how everything has been converging, I had to imagine that the echoes of my mistakes would still be present, and that solidifies what I'm going back for.
And when you do go back, there is a part of me that cares for this city when I was split in 3. The part of me that was enamored of darkness and the erotic became a La Sombra named Vico, which, by the way, is my true surname. Trois Echelles was a name that I took to hide my true identity a long time ago. Kalome inherited my anger and my bile. She festered in the call until she was released in the 70s and began infecting the dreamer. The part of me that cares for this city and its people lives on in my bloodline. My descendant, his name is Renard. He's called the Rat King. He carries it with him. And as for the dreamer, the power that I felt beneath the city is an ancient Malkavian. He has been here longer than the city has been here. He was here before we came here. He was here before Ville-Marie, before everything. He came here to sleep, and we disturbed him. His dreams reach out to the dreams of the population and affect them. His mind is currently infected with Kalome's desires for death and decay. All the minds connected to the dreamer's mind are infected similarly. His mind is perhaps the greatest hurdle. If he dreams of death, then the people of the city dream of death. But if he dreams of hope, the Romans had a belief, the genius loci, a spirit of place. If they treated that spirit correctly, that spirit took care of them in return. This Malkavian, whom I believe has come to be called Brother Andre, is the genius loci of Montreal. He's not in control of his dreams. It is up to everybody to find a way to help him dream better dreams for the city. In any case, I believe that's enough walking down memory lane for now. I've hopefully given you enough to figure out a new path for yourself if you want it.
I think you certainly have, and if you will indulge me, I do have one final question for you. I may be able to put some of these pieces together based on what you've shared, but you talked before about how there were so many events and changes in your life and in you that you did not choose. That you did not choose to become kindred, that you did not choose to become a part of the city. What would you choose now?
In all honesty, I believe it's too late for me to choose anything. I'm partly in the spirit world and partly in the city, but if I could choose anything, I would choose for all my actions, good and bad, meaningful and meaningless, voluntarily and otherwise, to have, in the end, led to something good, led to a better place, a better world, for those who came after me and who saw what I did and chose to focus on the better things and to make those things happen.
I hope that I am able to bring your dream and that hope with me moving forward.
Well, I will rest easy tonight, knowing that Father Aidan Joseph is on the case. I hope you find who you are now and stop having to worry about who you used to be.
I hope for the same. Thank you, old friend.
And on that, I believed we have arrived. And as he says that, you find yourself walking into a clearing and sitting cross-legged in the center of it. You see Dario, or at least his soul, who looks up as you arrive. He says, "Ah, well, I found a body for you." And on that particular note, we are going to travel back to Hurley's pub. Nice little place. I like to hang out there personally. Fiona, you climb back upstairs and you take a peek inside the room, and there is an echo of what Tristan just said. This idea that everything is connected somehow, or that there is an inevitability to all these things, and you notice that Claudia is sitting, interestingly enough, underneath the picture of Oscar Wilde.
Well, well, well.
Thank you for meeting me on a very unexpected notice. Fiona, I'm assuming?
Yes, Claudia.
Yes. I think she'll actually offer out her hand to shake.
She takes it. Nice firm handshake.
Also firm handshake. I'm going to be just very honest with you. Someone told me that you'd be someone I'd be interested in speaking with about certain things, and he offered in exchange for telling me this. And she pulls out the package and offers it to Fiona.
Fiona takes it and looks at it. I've got a secret admirer, have I?
It seems so, and he was very adamant that I tell you. This comes from the La Sombra named Nicholas.
Good old Nick. Wish he'd get out of that house now and again.
That's what I was thinking.
It's too many damn cats. But hey, he makes a lovely cuppa, doesn't he?
He does.
Very well. And Fiona unwraps the packaging. Good gods. Is this real?
He stated it is not the original, but something so old, even if it's not what came before, it still can hold the weight. And it looks like it does.
Fiona keeps the cover of the book resting on the paper it comes in and just very gingerly cracks it open and leaves through the first couple of pages. My God. Well, he is good at what he does. This is quite the gift. If you see him again, send him my thanks.
I shall. I think I have adopted him as someone who definitely needs to have more company.
Well, maybe I ought to go out and have a spot of tea with him as well. Maybe we could set up a time. Very well. I certainly would call this a show of good faith, so what can I help you with?
There are troubles happening in Montreal. I'm sure you're aware of it. It's hard not to be aware of such things. And I am someone, once I figure and see something's wrong, it's hard for me to ignore and want to seek out the truth of the matter and see if I can find a way to at least curb or mitigate the casualties that are to come. With that in mind, there's been some trails I've been seeking about these troubles, and it seems to have led me here to ask the question of, what can you tell me about the True Brujah?
The True Brujah? Interesting. Well, I know that they're Time Lords of sorts. Not in that Doctor Who type of way, but actually and truly able to manipulate time. It's quite powerful, quite dangerous.
Oh, I'm very much aware.
But they're very rare. Some people say that they don't really exist anymore, but they said that about the Cappadocians, and, well, we had a run-in in the subway, so... Aside from that, I know that the True Brujah tend to be... Well, first let me ask you this. Did old Nicholas there predict the end of the world?
In a manner of speaking, yes. He fears that it's already creeping on our doorsteps. It's just a matter of time.
It's been creeping on our doorsteps since 1974. Well, I imagine, given the fact that he's offering such a very kind gift for any intelligence I might have to pass along to a very fine, keen-minded person, well, I imagine that he is thinking that Gehenna is nigh.
Gehenna is nigh in his mind, yes. I'm still a bit weary to really confirm it myself.
As am I. But I cannot deny that the signs of strange, fucked up, dark dealings in our fair city are becoming more and more apparent. So I'd be happy to tell you what I know. And perhaps I could ask you a favor in return. I seem to have a bit of an interesting predicament myself.
If it's within my abilities to do, I will certainly try.
You saw that young lad at the bar when you came in?
I did, yes.
Fella named Tristan. Got into a spot of trouble about 4 years ago. Kind of trouble that, well, didn't seem natural. Now, I won't go into too many details, but he told me what he was experiencing, and he mentioned someone by the name of Ashmore. And she reaches into her pocket and pulls out the business card and puts it on the table very gingerly in front of Claudia.
Does the name Ashmore ring in any of her research?
Absolutely not.
Hmm.
I'm not being an asshole. There's reasons for that, but it does not ring any bell.
Is it possible the logo? Can she make any type of check on the logo?
Certainly. What are you thinking?
I mean, my gut reaction's occult, but
Some fucking Tremere bullshit, isn't it?
fucking Tremere! Always at the scene of the crime.
Yeah, you can go ahead and give me an intelligence plus a occult roll.
All right. All right. That is 4 successes. No pips and no skulls.
There's nothing about the symbol itself that means anything to you, even with your vast knowledge and this very good roll that you just made. What does ring a bell and is kind of interesting to you is that you've heard of that saying, the way to bliss, before. In a strange context, in the context of a book written a long time ago by an English magician, for lack of a better word, named Ashmole, Lord Ashmole. He wrote several books, several treatises. He was part of the government. He was someone who was very well known. He was connected down the line to events that happened in the selling of Canada and all that. But that particular line, The Way to Bliss, is something that's from one of his books.
That sounds familiar. The Lord Ashmole. There's a book that has that phrasing in it from him. Interesting.
Now, as far as finding out anything more about this, with the email address, if you had if you had access to a really, really top-notch hacker, you could conceivably get some information through there. That's what you would know as a private eye. You do also know of a Nosferatu that you met not too long ago, Des. Got some skills.
Yeah, that's what
Some skills to pay the bills.
Yeah. Interesting. That is someone... Ashmore, I don't know, but it is pinging some interest.
Well, perhaps we could team up about it. Do some research. I'll check things on my end. And perhaps you could talk to someone you might know or use some connections.
I certainly have connections that can help with that. Appreciate it.
I certainly have connections that could help you with your case. Now, did Nicholas say why he wanted to know more about the True Brujah?
For him... I think it is that concern of what is to come, but it also seems that I met Nicholas under specific circumstances, and I think that those circumstances really, really got to him in a way I can't really describe. I think he's just, in his own way, seeking the truth.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
I certainly will help out as best I can. But I don't know everything.
I'm going to swing real wide with this, but I mentioned before that I experienced how powerful they could be. Not firsthand fully, it was remnants of something. Do you happen to... Did you hear anything about maybe a scuffle that happened at a specific... Ava does not remember the name of the carnival area. Insert name here. In a house of horrors, there was a dagger found there that kind of had me in a way for a bit.
Huh. Interesting.
Very interesting, to say the least.
Had you in a way? In what sort of way?
I was investigating a trail, and there seemed to have been a dagger that hovered, glitched in and out. And not my proudest moment, but I was so in need of leads that I may have touched it, and then I was stuck in a period of time, and then lo and behold, the sun is up, and then I had to deal with that song and dance of surviving that for a bit. So
that's fucking terrifying.
It is, and that was about 2-3 days ago. So very fresh in the mind.
Huh. Well, it does seem that perhaps you were caught up in a time loop. That, well, it could be some Tremere bullshit magic, or it could be some La Sombra bullshit magic, but quite frankly, it does sound like some True Brujah bullshit magic, so I think you did get caught in a trap there. I'm not exactly sure who might have said it, though.
I certainly don't, but I know whoever it was tracking someone I was also tracking. So I'm hoping, with your assistance, I can find that person, and maybe I can find whether she's dead fully, or maybe there's still some room for me to dig my daggers into her myself. Maybe some cases can be closed.
Bleakseason.
Jisk.
Who do I might know that might have done that?
I'm sorry, I was typing with someone. Can you tell me what we're talking about?
How fucking dare you? Who perhaps set this dagger trap for our dear Claudia, the one who caught her in a time loop?
A friend of yours named Costa.
That little shitbrick. Would I know that?
I don't think so, no.
Alright, well that solves that. Claudia, it does sound like that's True Brujah thing, and I do know for a fact that there are True Brujah here. I'm not sure who might have gotten you in that tangle, and quite frankly, it's not like I can call a board meeting of all the Brujah in the city, but if I can help you out, I'd be happy to, especially Nicholas, especially after such a fine gift and such fine company.
You see Bruno's head popping through the door and looking at you insistently.
The fuck do you want?
You're popular tonight. There's another one here to see you.
Jesus fucking Christ. Claudia, can I get you a refill on anything? Oh, you're muted.
I'm particularly liking this black velvet.
Very well. I'll be sure to have Bruno here get you another one. If you'll excuse me for just a moment.
Of course.
And as you're getting up from the table, you hear, hey, buddy, I didn't tell you could go in there. Buddy, and you see Desmond coming towards you.
Hello.
Pleasure to see you again. Better circumstances this time.
Right, not stuck in the rubble in our own fucking hellscape. How are you? You look much better than last time.
I'm doing just fine. I'm curious if my companion has been doing just as fine with you.
Yes, he's at the bar, having a meal.
All limbs, digits, ears still attached?
Well, I did think about making a little sculpture, but yes, everything's still attached. Your boy's been through hell, so I've got about we might have empathy about it.
I appreciate that you curbed any impulses at Maymang.
Well, it took a little bit, but he was quite convincing. I reckon we've all done our fair share of horrors, so I can't exactly blame him. So
that is more empathy than I might have expected.
I'm not entirely an asshole, just like 90%.
Well, thank you for watching him, getting whatever information you needed out of him, and returning him to me.
Well, we got the best bangers and mash in the city. Wasn't going to deprive him of that opportunity. But it's good to see you. Sorry, where are my manners? Desmond, this is Claudia. Claudia, Desmond.
Nice to meet you.
A pleasure. And he will extend a hand.
She will take that hand, and it's also firm.
As is his.
Hell yeah, firm handshakes all around.
Desmond, as you reach out and touch Claudia's hand, you do that little thing that you do sometimes when you meet people. And you reach out to the spirits around them. The ones that attach themselves to people and wander through life with them, perhaps for a few moments, perhaps for longer. And you question them very quickly. Who is this person? What have they done? Just to try and get a handle on them. This is something that only really old Cappadocians such as yourselves can do. And as you catalog all these different spirits that are around her, you get a sense of someone who is inquisitive, someone who is maybe a little nosy, someone who is very bookish, someone who is very attached to a human. It's human, right, Claudia, your husband?
No, he's my sire.
He's your sire. Why did I think he was,
Yes.
was a human?
Remember, and you were both vampires.
Someone very attached to their sire. But more than that, you start hearing strange chatter. You quickly, as you smile and as you say, pleasure to meet you, and all these nice pleasantries, you extend a little bit your senses. You hear these ghosts, these spirits, this chatter, and you realize it's coming from pretty far. And the chatter itself seems to be coming from all the way into the Shadowlands. Ghosts are talking about this one. They're talking about echoes coming from as far away as Enoch of people there having taken stock, having taken notice of this one, you get this sudden, unmistakable notion that somewhere in some council room or other, deep into the city of Enoch, that someone has decided that all the end of times, all the falls of empires, all the falls of cities, of nations, need chroniclers. And you get the sense that they've decided that this one is going to tell that story. This one is going to chronicle the fall of Montreal, the coming of Gehenna to its shores, and the destruction of all who live here. But that's just a ghost whispering.
Still shaking your hand. Is everything okay?
Everything is perfectly fine. You are fascinating now.
Oh, well, I've heard that before, and so thank you, but never so soon of meeting someone new.
I consider myself a good judge of character.
I like that in people.
I hope we have a chance to get to know each other a bit more.
I always like making new friends. I've only been here for a couple years, so new connections are always welcomed.
Where did you come from?
I'm originally born and raised in the States, but love had me come to Quebec City, and eventually we're like, Quebec City is too quiet. We'll make our way to Montreal.
A reasonable reason to be here.
Love. It can move people. Literally.
And where are my manners? I'm sorry, Fiona, for not including you in this conversation.
No, I am being a fly on the wall. I also had a passing thought. Never mind, perhaps we can circle back around to it. Is there anything I can help you with aside from getting your boy here back?
I don't think so. Not this evening, at least.
Well, I promise he's all wrapped up with a pretty pink bow for you. Well, I suppose I could have done you that service, but thanks for trusting me with him.
Of course. And Claudia, if our paths were to be able to cross again, where might I find you?
I personally do not remember the name of the club that my co-member Vincent has, but
God, I don't remember either.
I don't remember, but I think
it's a cabaret club in Montreal.
Yeah.
That you would know the name for sure.
yeah.
Is it Wiggle Room?
Honestly, he may actually call it that, but I'm not going to take that credit right now. My coterie member owns a cabaret club over on the Anarch side. I do some of my business out of there, so you can usually find me there.
I'll have to stop in one of these nights.
It's good times all around, which is what we need during these times.
Indeed we do, and I will be interested to see what you are making of these nights as they unfold.
Absolutely. But please, I'm sure you two need to talk. I'm just going to nurse this drink for a bit.
No, by all means. Desmond, I just had a quick question, just a passing thought. Would you come with me to the bar?
Of course. Lead the way.
Fiona leads Desmond to the bar and stands there and says, I know a little bit about your penchant for talking to the dead, maybe. I don't know much about Hecata myself, but that's what they say, that you all have some sort of tapped-in sense.
We do, yes.
Now, there's a story about this old pub, about a man named George who sits in the corner drinking a pint or two. He's the local ghost, and I just wondered if you might see him. He's sort of a mascot.
Bleak, do I see this ghost?
You raise your eyes and you look at the corner of the bar and you don't see him, but you gaze around and you find him out in the back room near where the dartboard is. You see a tall, slim man with long black hair wearing a leather jacket. He's got a half-empty pint in front of him and another full one at his elbow, and he's got a book opened on the counter in front of him. And even amid all this noise with the band playing and the place packed and people coming and going, he's just sitting there, chin resting on his fist, reading, occasionally taking a sip from his beer.
He seems to be enjoying himself.
That's what I love to hear. Thank you for your indulgence. I won't keep you any longer unless there's something you need from me.
Not tonight now, I don't think, but I will certainly call on you if and when that changes.
Well, you're welcome anytime, and keep your boyfriend in check. If he goes all sideways again, I might have to cut off a toe.
I would rather that not happen, and we will have a conversation about those impulses.
Right. Very well. Well, enjoy your evening. You're welcome, as I said, anytime.
And when you turn to see Bruno, to get him to bring Tristan over, you see Bruno standing there, looking kind of a little bit out of sort.
What's the matter there, bro?
He's gone.
Sorry, what?
The kid with the bangers and mash. He fucked up.
Well, fuck me. God damn it, you slippery little cunt. I fucking knew it. Didn't I fucking know it? Should have cut off his fucking foot. God damn it.
And meanwhile, in the Shadowlands, Desmond, you sit as Dario prepares you. And he says, it's going to feel a bit weird, but not much weirder than the last time that you went through this. You ready?
I just need to ask before we begin. Has the plan changed at all? Is it still Tristan, or have you found somewhere else where you've decided to put me?
Well, I went to the bar where Fiona was holding Tristan, and he wasn't there. Now I have feelers out looking for him. As soon as we find him, we'll bring him back, but don't you worry. This body I found you is going to fit you like a glove. And as he says that, he touches your forehead, and you feel that same feeling of being absorbed down into the earth and being passed through this most confined tunnel, and you feel suddenly flesh and bone wrap itself around you, almost like putting on a suit of some sort, and it's this kind of unsettling, strange feeling. And what's especially strange is when you feel your heartbeat and you take a breath and you look out of the corner of your eye and you see Dario there coming to in his own body, looking at you and goes, "Well, don't you look swell?" And he reaches over and he grabs a mirror and he lifts it up in front of you. And that, my friends, is where we are going to end tonight's session. Vampire the Masquerade Elegy.